So grievances. We're going to just chat about grievances in this video. Specifically, when is a good time to write a grievance, when it's not a good time to write a grievance, and then if you are going to write one, then how are you going to do that and the best way to go about it and the process that then follows from that. So firstly, just weighing up whether to write one or not. It's a question of, what do I want out of this situation? It's also a question of timing. So give you an example. If you're trying to negotiate an exit package or a settlement agreement deal to leave your job with a decent payout, okay, if you've been badly treated, which is basically what this website is all about, which our whole business is all about, then your best bet often can be, first of all, writing without prejudice letter, or having a without prejudice conversation with your employer. Without prejudice is different from grievance. Without prejudice means that it can't be referred to openly, it can't be referred to in court, it can't be referred to at work in an open meeting. So it means like a confidential, off the record scenario where you're setting out not only your complaint but also your resolution. So how much money, for example, that you want out of it, or other things like an agreed reference perhaps that you want as part of your settlement exit package. Okay, and with a without prejudice letter, there doesn't have to be any kind of formal process. So it doesn't have to be a meeting and an outcome letter in a set number of days. So that's off the record. That's your first port of call. And the reason why is because once you've written a grievance letter, which is also classified as a type of open letter, which means it can be referred to at work, it can be referred to in court and so on, what your employer will often have to do there is at least be seen to investigate that. So 90% or probably 95% of the time, they're not going to admit that they've done anything wrong. So it's not going to sort of result in some kind of grand kind of apology, but they will certainly want to be seen to be investigating that and be seen to be doing the right thing. So they'll be putting management time and energy into that whole grievance process, which, if you think about it, they could have put that into the without prejudice negotiation process instead. So the cost that it will cost them to run a grievance investigation, well, they might have been willing to give you that as part of an agreed negotiated settlement exit package deal. So try and ask for that first. Now, obviously, if you don't get anywhere with your without prejudice letter or with your negotiation discussions, that can be a really good time to put in a grievance, because that will really ramp up the pressure on them, because it will activate this process, and so it will make them think a bit harder. And also, one other benefit is that they'll need to reply to your grievance letter with the specific points set out. So you're really prepping your scenario for an employment tribunal. So you're really prepping your scenario for an employment tribunal. By that I mean that you're getting your kind of points across and their answers, so you can slot those in and really kind of fine tune your case. Now, no one wants you to go to an employment tribunal, but the more your case is prepped for one, then the more likely it is that your employer is going to actually agree to giving you a fair deal, because they're worried about you kind of suing them, because they can see that's going to take a lot of time and energy and they might lose and so on. So we're not suggesting you go to tribunal, but the more prepared you look, then the more likely you are to get a fair deal. All right, so once you've decided to make a formal grievance, or put in a formal grievance, as we say, then a couple of things to look out for. Certainly read the ACAS code on grievances, which sets out the kind of timescales involved here normally that people use, or your company's internal grievance procedure. That can be a document which you could obtain on the intranet or from HR if they have one. And effectively, you're writing a letter, they'll invite you to a meeting, there may be HR there and a manager, or just HR. You'd be allowed to take a colleague or a union rep. We can't go to that meeting as lawyers, but we can certainly tell you what to say from behind the scenes. And we are specialist lawyers, whereas union reps aren't. They're not lawyers, and they work for the same company as well. So you might prefer to get one of us on your side before that point. So in that meeting, you should take copious amount of notes and refer to your numbered paragraphs. Try and number your paragraphs, okay? So that then they reply also in numbers. After that meeting, they'll send you an outcome letter. That will, by and large, it will dismiss the complaints one by one for various reasons. But you'll see in there, the more tenuous the reasons, the more they're probably sort of quaking in their boots, waiting to see what you do next. Then you've got a grievance appeal, which is the next stage, and then again that goes to a different manager. So often, if that was your line manager that you've got a problem with, it will go to their manager. So it gives you another bite of the cherry. The important thing about this is at any point along this journey, you will then be able to suggest a settlement or have a without prejudice conversation. So it's not that you're expecting again, them to admit their fault here. It's just that you're really just helping to keep that pressure on, and using this kind of grievance procedure just to kind of really help leverage your position and negotiate yourself a fair deal when you're being badly treated at work, which is what we really passionately believe in, is that people shouldn't just have to kind of resign with their tail between their legs and go home and cry into their cornflakes when they're being really mistreated at work. People should really have that reflected in a fair exit package. So good luck with that. There's lots of grievance template examples on our website here. Use one of them, or get in touch with us for a free consultation if you're keen to find out more about how we can help you as well. Cheers, bye.